Welcome to the February 2025 Huntsville, Alabama market report. The market started to stabilize in February after a red hot January, signaling a little bit of a shift from recent momentum. What's that going to do in March? But before we jump into that, make sure you hit subscribe below to stay on top of all of the latest Huntsville, Alabama real estate news. So if you're a buyer, there's some good news that's out there. Number one is inventory is up 24.5% year over year. So there's simply more homes to choose from. Affordability is also improving as kind of a combination of several things. Average sales price, which we'll jump into here in just a minute, remained relatively flat year over year. We also, another year, more inflation, we have higher wages, and interest rates have started to improve as well over the last few weeks, creating more affordability and an opportunity for buyers this spring season. Sellers in February face more competition. There's more homes available on the market. And with that, we saw longer days on market as well, a 42.9% increase year over year, which increased that average days on market to 70 days, which is still kind of an average amount, but it is significantly up from the COVID pandemic era. And there also, sellers had a lot of competition from builders. Builder incentives were pressuring sellers with interest rate promotions and other promotions in terms of just discounts and other giveaways that they were offering. However, spring activity is starting to pick up, and we are starting to see multiple offers and even full price offers on top listings. I personally have sold 2 of my rental homes / flips over the last several weeks, and I was able to sell both of those with full price offers in less than a week on one and 1 day on the other one. So let's jump into the specific submarkets for the Huntsville area. First, let's start with Huntsville. The median sales price was down $12,000 year over year. We're down to $318 in February versus $330 this time last year. Home sales were relatively flat, $528 versus $545. Again, the big news is more inventory available on the market as more homes are sitting out there and there's just an increase in supply. So 36.2% increase. If you're looking at the Huntsville market at the end of February, there were over almost 2,400 homes available versus 1,755 the year before. All right, let's jump into the star of the show, the Athens market. The Athens market has really been the star in terms of median sales price and price increase and growth, where Athens saw a higher median sales price than Huntsville did, and a huge increase, a $53,000 increase year over year, $375 versus $322. Not as many homes sold in the Athens market, 165 sold this February 2025. So there's not as much data, so that median sales price does jump up and down, but in general, the Athens market has been trending higher than Huntsville. The overall number of homes sold, again, 165, kind of flat year over year, 158 this time last year. Again, the big story, more availability of homes in the Athens market, 36.2% increase in homes, 940 homes to choose from, almost 1,000 homes to choose from in the Athens market now versus 690 this time last year. Let's talk about Morgan County, the Huntsville and Decatur markets, where a lot of people are going and flocking towards for affordability. The median sales price with that did increase year over year, up $25,000, $267 versus $242. Not as many homes, a smaller market in the Morgan County market, 82 homes sold versus 107, which was a pretty strong increase, a 30.4% increase, and then just a huge influx in the number of homes sold. If you're in the Decatur market, there are a lot of homes to choose from now, 502 homes versus 323. That was over a 55% increase in inventory indicator. Let's look at the overall market. In summary, if you want to skip over the next few seconds, it's basically everything was flat. New listings were flat, 1301 versus 1320. Pending sales were also flat, 1037 versus 1032. Closed sales down about 4%, 895 versus 859. Days on market, that is where we saw an increase with more supply out there, a 42.9% increase, 49 to that 70 days on market. The average sales price increased slightly, 1.8%, 338,980 to 345 and some change. Now, if you're thinking about selling your home in this market and you're wondering if your home went up 1.8% or if you had a little bit more of an increase than the average increase in this market, look at the pinned comments on the YouTube video, and what you'll see is a link to our free home valuation tool. Click that link, and then you just basically enter your home information, and we'll get out a free home valuation to you right away, so you can kind of compare your home on what it was worth last year versus what it's worth this year. With that also, percent of list price was down slightly, 98.2% to 97.8%. That's still kind of a healthy number as it's north of 97%. However, it's not really factoring in all the builder concessions. So I would say we're probably around 97% or even a little bit south of that. So kind of a normal negotiating market. If you're a buyer, there's typically some wiggle room there, unless it's one of those hot listings that's coming available on the market. Everybody's looking to put an offer in on that home. But if a home's been sitting, probably a little bit of wiggle room to negotiate or to come in with some closing costs. And that's something to bear in mind as well. If you're a seller and you get past that first week or two with not a lot of activity, not a lot of offers, it might be time to lower your price or consider being negotiable when that first offer comes in. So let's talk about housing affordability. That gets measured by the Housing Affordability Index, and how they calculate that is they measure median price range home versus a median household income. If those line up, that's a score of 100. Anything below that is considered less affordable. We've been a little bit below that, 92 in last February. Now we're inching up closer to 100 with 96. Which is really good news compared to the rest of the country. I've seen a lot of housing affordability numbers well below that. So good to be in Huntsville, Alabama, looking for a home this spring and summer timeframe. Supply is also up 3.2 months last year. Now we're at 3.9 months. 4 to 6 months is kind of considered that sweet spot. It's like a balanced market, neither buyer nor seller. That's pretty much where we are here in the Huntsville market right now. Inventory overall is up 24.5%, 3181 homes this time last year. Now we're almost pushing 4,000 homes, 3968. And we're back to pre-pandemic numbers, even 2 years before that, 2018 numbers. And so really a great time to be looking in the spring market for a home in Huntsville, Alabama. More homes to choose from. Housing affordability is up. And if you're a seller, we've seen a lot of activity as this is being recorded in March. We've seen a lot of activity in March in terms of multiple offers, increased showings, and a lot of contracts this March as well. So some good news for both buyers and sellers looking into the spring and summer market.